we've gone too far with promoting our culture, and we are lacking the strategy that drove a lot of companies in the past. And it's really, really sad today to see that whole phrase of culture eats strategy for breakfast. People are eating that up like Weet-Bix. And it's absolutely frustrating because, yes, there is a place for culture. And we had an episode previously about what is corporate culture. It's in the values, right? It's in the way you do treat your people.
Welcome to Rejected or Selected, a podcast with Simon Carabetta and me, Deany Jagdor. We talk about job search woes, hiring horrors, and everything fair and unfair in and around our work lives.
Hey, Deany, how is it going?
As always, going well, but Sheil did us to stop asking how you're doing and talk about something interesting.
I have to say something. The way I asked you how's it going just then, I kind of used a tone that I guess tone might be the right word, or the melody that I loathe. So I really hate it when people talk in this tone. Hey, how you doing? Like, to me, it sounds so fake. And I'm glad you actually didn't respond positively to my question, because obviously it's a bland question. Like, how you doing is just a really sucky way to say hi to somebody. But at the same time, this tone of, and I think it's an Aussie thing, there's that inflection at the end. How are ya? How you doing? I used to have a boss that would greet us in the morning with that exact same tone, and it would make me cringe. And nothing against this guy. He's actually a really nice guy. But something about that, and no one wants to tell him, hey, by the way, boss, like, your greetings suck. But something about that tone just sounds very inauthentic. And I know it might not be intentional. It's probably just a learned behavior or way of speaking, or, we all have our own little quirks and ways of saying something and doing so. I have mine. You may have yours. Hands up. Yeah, you got some?
Speaking of learned behavior, that is not the first time you've said, hey to me like that. Some people say when you loathe something, you got to be careful because it might actually rub off on you, and you start doing the exact same thing that you don't necessarily like. So,
Ooh, good call out.
anyway, I didn't find anything wrong with it, Simon. I thought it was just playful.
Good call out, Deany. Good call. I think when there is something you don't like, you are right. Sometimes it can be something that you kind of unintentionally and subconsciously do. So
Maybe if
call
you're
out.
going into a meeting tomorrow or interviewing someone tomorrow, try not to use that tone, especially
Hey.
meeting. I thought it
I'm
was cute and funny.
I'm just
Anyway,
going, what's that? Nah.
oh God.
I'll put on the old Borat. Hello, I like you.
I know. Yeah. Okay. Says, some people.
This is getting well away from us anyway, Denny. So
Yeah. I've got to use that as a segue into our topic, but obviously not. We
it
weren't
kind of
strategic
is.
in our opening, or are we?
Yeah. Look, it is a good segue, Danny, because I think what we're discussing tonight is something that can be irritating. It can be frustrating. It can make people feel quite agitated. And that's talking about when your company's values and what they say they stand for, when those things don't actually align with their actions. And that is, it's almost everywhere. I see it in a lot of different companies and different brands today. But I've worked in places where that has been a problem. Your values that you say you stand for and your so-called culture doesn't align with the way I'm being treated or the way others are treated or any of your processes.
It's
It
false
may
advertising.
exactly. And look, it may reflect in your products, it
Mm,
may reflect in your services, but it does not reflect in everything else you do. And this is the point of tonight's show, is to talk about that holistic view of when we market a brand, it should be the entire company adhering to those values rather than just certain aspects and parts of the business.
mm,
Those that are public facing are given the priority. We give A1 service. Our product is second to none. You can
mm.
count on us for this, this, and this. But in the back end, you've got people being treated very differently.
Okay.
So that's what tonight's about.
All right. Interesting. I think I can give you an example of that actually.
Cool.
Personal example. Sorry, there's a like mosquito flying around and I don't want to get dengue again. So I'm
I thought your
just
fort, I thought your blue fort was going to keep them out.
I forgot to spray the mosquitoes with spray chemicals. Yeah,
Can I
sorry.
just interject? Can I just interject very
Yes,
quickly?
yes.
You mentioned very briefly there that you had dengue, and I don't think our audience knows about that
Oh,
particular event from your life earlier this year.
good. I thought we did talk about it. We didn't?
No, we
Such
didn't. And
a
we
trouble.
talked about it extensively. I don't think
Oh, okay.
we
Yeah.
recorded anything about it though.
So I had dengue. Oh God. No, I can't. These mosquitoes are insane. Or is it my 40-plus-year-old eyesight that's just not really seeing them where they actually are? But yeah, I had dengue and I was in hospital for, was it 5? Was it 6 days?
Oof.
But I survived. Apparently, I should not get it again because the second time you get it, it would be worse. And pray you don't get it for a third time because it could be fatal. I mean, the
Oh,
first time you get dengue it could be fatal, but yeah, if you get it more than once, not a great way to live, I guess.
well, no, not at all. But I guess it shows a lot. It probably is a good display of your resilience and your
Mm,
own health and fitness that you bounce back quite well from that. Whereas
yeah.
most other people would probably take a bit of a hit for a while,
Oh,
be a bit
wait,
later.
I think it happened in March, right? We're now June. Wow, time flies. It took me a good 2 months to recover to this state where I'm now back, at the gym, exercising and, doing things. But yeah, 2 months, I wasn't really doing any workouts or anything throughout that time. And
Mm,
work-wise, I would hit a wall by like 2 p.m., 2:30. It just my brain cannot function
that's me on
anymore.
a normal day.
No, but I'm one of those people who are a bit not a good role model when it comes to working because I do tend to be a bit of a workaholic. Like I get really, the hyper focused kind of state where you just keep work, 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 and then suddenly it's like
Mhm.
6 p.m. and Nabil's texting me like, "Oh, where are you?" I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh my god,
What a
it's
deal.
I should go home." So yeah, no, it's a good. So that's the positive thing that came out of being sick. Um,
Yeah.
my body just, nah, you got to go home. You got to rest. Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a wake up call for anybody, isn't it? That
Mm,
throws themselves into work the way you do. That's,
yeah.
probably time to well, not time, maybe time to just have a little break for a bit. Not
Yeah.
step,
But just
not take a back seat permanently, but just have that little breather.
or approach work with a bit more balance, work-life balance. It's
Speaking of
hard when you enjoy
balance,
what you're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But look, Beanie, speaking about balance, it is about balance when we talk about branding, right? And this is something I'm quite passionate about because the way I see it and the way many people see it is branding is actually a promise. The way I see it is branding is a promise. It's something that you exhibit in your products, in your services, your values, in your job ads.
Yeah.
in your LinkedIn presence.
Yeah.
And more often than not, we find stories and anecdotes of people who are seeing a misalignment in their own role in the company, in the way that they see others and themselves treated, the processes in the back end that might not align so well with that public facing branding,
Ah.
because
Yeah.
branding is as I said, it's the entire company.
Yeah, sorry. So we got distracted from what I was going to share earlier.
Oh.
My example, I was I was lucky enough to get a job at this um, large consulting company, global consulting company. And they were very people first. Like they had all these initiatives, like women's initiatives, like all LGBTQI initiatives, like everything, and I was in awe. There's no other way to describe it. I was in awe at the apparent culture of this corporation, right?
Mm.
Like, yeah, I was very, very impressed, so much so that I bought shares, you know, in the company. Anyway, fast forward 8 months and then I got made redundant, and it was just I think there's a lot that comes with people just being let go from their jobs, right? Aside from, the clear reasons of, oh, if they did something wrong or illegal or they weren't performing, that kind of thing. With the redundancies, a lot of the time it comes from just poor management, right? So
Mhm.
you've invested into an arm or a team or a division, and for some reason, maybe it's out of your control, maybe it's just, whoever had the idea of building this division was very influential, which happens a lot. Um, there wasn't the expectation that it wouldn't work, right? So you invest a lot and then it turns out, oh, actually, this line of business isn't making money, or I don't know. It's always the bottom line, right? Not enough money being made,
Yeah.
or the cost is not commensurate with the money being made. So unfortunately, then a lot of people become collateral damage in that sense. So I guess in terms of the what I was getting at is I think the company is trying to be people first, but it is very hard to have that strategic foresight. It's hard to guarantee that you're going to be able to sustain whatever um, workforce you build into the company, because it is ultimately down to the bottom line. Like, is there enough money to keep them on? Is there enough money to keep paying our investors, including
Mm.
myself? Is there enough money to keep the board happy, depending on what type of company you are? Um,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. It's just being on the you know, people who lost their job end of the stick. Of course, I was negatively impacted by that.
Mm.
But at the same time, we got to be pragmatic and realistic as well. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But I did think, like, how come um all of these people are being let go? Because the redundancies, it was happening, right? 2024, a lot of companies went through the same thing, and you see it happening around you, and you're just hoping that you're not part of that group that get cold.
Yeah.
um and I just kept thinking, my God, like, surely with this amount of people, there was some kind of plan, there was some kind of strategy, some kind of justification to actually hire us, and then to just fire us like in less than a year when we're all doing so well. Um, yeah, it was just quite disheartening. And then you kind of think about, this is a major corporation making heaps of profit. obviously, because you could see the stock,
Mhm.
right? But there's different sizes of companies from that, large revenue generating companies to like our more smaller local businesses. You know, how do you prioritize that? Like putting a strategy in to make sure that you don't, I guess when you fire someone, it's always going to impact their life, right? Got to impact the people around them if they have a family, if they have a lot of debt. It's we're all human. So, but at some point,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh well, it's business. That's a bit sad.
It is look, it is sad, T. Um, I think you touched on some really good points there, but you mentioned the word people a few times. And I want to go back to when you were talking about that so-called that collateral damage
Mm,
when things do happen that don't necessarily go into business's favor.
yeah,
And collateral is usually a term we use for assets, including people. So people as assets, which I don't agree with that term, but it is something that is used. So when you talk about people, and here's a question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot here, actually. If when a company when a company says we have a people first approach,
yeah.
whether it's in their advertising or on their website and it's part of their branding, it's ingrained into their values. What does that actually mean?
Ah, do you mean what my assumption it would mean, or
Yeah,
what does it
yeah. What
actually?
do you think the company is trying to get across when they say
Well, I
people
think,
first approach?
yeah, people first to me, my assumption would be like the company actually cares about the people that they employ and they would prioritize the well-being of their employees
Mm.
above profit. But I could be wrong.
Well, Deanie,
Apparently I'm wrong.
the sad fact of the matter is, yeah, you are, and I'm wrong too in my assumption because if I ever see, or when I have seen people first approach
Hmm,
in a job ad, my assumption is we come first. If they're choosing between our well-being and their people and profits, well, then they're going to choose us. How naive of someone to ever think that, though,
I know,
especially in 2026,
I
where
know.
we have seen the exact opposite from so many companies. And look, in this is not for today's episode. We will talk about AI and redundancies and downsizing in a future episode because
Mm,
that's going to be an absolute whopper. So, not going to discuss that tonight, but that is something that we have obviously and very clearly seen since the beginning of the year, if not last year,
yeah,
especially in Australia as well. But we'll talk a bit more about that at another time. But here's the whole thing. It's that misalignment of those values, isn't it? When a
yeah,
company is saying we have a people first approach and then making decisions that negatively impact their people for profit. And I understand. I get it. I'm not some naive, oh shucks, innocent individual. I
mm,
understand companies exist to make a profit, to, you know, m-
to make
pay
money.
dividends to their board and their shareholders.
Rain.
Yeah, make it rain.
Rain.
There's a good scene from my favorite show, The Sopranos, where he's in his psychiatrist's office and he's basically got a wad of cash and he's just throwing at it. That's what it's all about. Money is there's a few expletives I'll leave out because we want to monetize this. But you know what I mean. Like he's just throwing it out there. And anyway, anyone that's seen the clip knows what I'm saying and how blunt it is. But it's a point, isn't it? That's what it's all about. It's about money.
Money, money, money. You need
Money,
money to
money,
pay
money.
people. Yeah, you need money. Okay, I guess one of the this is overly simplified, but
Mm,
if I was a business owner or a director or a board member at a corporation, I'd be like, well, we do need the money to be able to keep the business going, to be able
mm.
to keep some jobs open, and not fully tank and lose all our people. So I guess that's
Yeah, and no, I
somewhat
get
a
it.
justification. But yeah, but I guess my issue is that surely you would approach recruitment with a little bit of forward planning so as to avoid this uh unnecessary stress for yourself, for the people that you hire and then fire, for the rest of the team. Because when you hire without actually being able to see, forward to make sure that you can sustain that person's role,
Mm,
um, then the impact is not just that person, right? It impacts like your own um the perception of you as the company, as part of the company or the management or the owner. It impacts the rest of the team because the team would be like, well, what's going on with the company? How come we're letting people go? How come we're firing people? Is there money problems? Am I going to be next?
mm,
And that's already going to impact on productivity. Um, People are going to look for other jobs. Um, yeah, everyone's going to try and save themselves.
true.
But you did mention, sorry, ugh, did I swallow a mosquito? Maybe.
Well,
I
you're
hope
getting
not.
some vengeance, right?
No. Yeah, we there's this famous saying, which I think is probably based on actual data, and you've said it to me as well, Simon. Like, it's 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 more expensive to hire and fire people than it is to keep them on. And,
Mhm.
if there's any chance of developing them, like, you might as well keep them on. And I don't know, I guess as a hiring manager or, any kind of manager in the business, one of your jobs is to identify where that person can bring
Yeah,
something to the table, right? Like, what are their strengths? What can we use them for? Where can they contribute? Because everyone's got different strengths and different weaknesses, and they might not be good enough for this particular role right now, but can we divert them into something else? I mean, that could be more difficult, but yeah, I don't know. As an employee, it's easy for me to have all these comments, right? I'm not the one who
mm.
has to make the decision. I'm not the one who's looking at the P&L and we can say all the things, Simon. We don't own the business. Like,
Yeah,
unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, maybe. Yeah,
yeah.
so
Look, I was just verifying something earlier about what you said about that, and it is 100% true. That is the stat is extremely valid today more than ever. That it is way more expensive to hire and fire than to keep people on, and this is yeah, I guess this is a good time to start looking at what's our strategy. Do we
mm,
actually have one in terms
mm.
of workforce planning, developing that strategy? Who's responsible for that? But let's go back to the brand really quickly because this is an important question before we go into recruitment. Who owns who owns a brand in a company? Who is the owner and who's accountable for the brand? Is it marketing? Is it HR? Is it everyone?
I feel like this is a trick question, and I feel like the answer is everyone.
It's everyone.
It's
It comes from
everyone.
the top.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't have
true.
one group own a I guess, own the brand and own what the culture is and the
Yeah.
values. You can't rely marketing's job is not to come up with your brand. Marketing's job is to sell your brand in a way that engages and captures an audience. Your
Mm.
brand needs to come organically from your company, specifically the leadership of your company. And this is where brand fails at some companies because a lot of organizations fail to remember how important recruitment and recruitment strategy is. because when we talk about branding, as I said way back at the beginning of the episode, it's holistic. It needs to take into account your recruitment process. Case in point, candidate experience. Have you ever had a bad candidate experience, Deany?
Oh, I think everyone has.
Yeah, exactly. And what does that tell you about the company or the
Um,
organization where you went for the job?
yeah, look, I think even as job searchers or job applicants, we kind of separate the the brand of the product with their recruitment. But at the same time, like subconsciously you would actually associate, every time you're going to go for a service or purchase something from some company and you've previously been an applicant to that company and you've experienced something not so great,
Mm,
it's going to taint your it's going to be in your bias, right? I mean that's
mhm,
what would happen to me. Um but to be fair, like when I was job searching, a lot of the times the jobs were actually offered to me by recruiters. So I guess that's like a tick, like the benefit of using a recruitment company. You can distance yourself from that process. Um,
yep.
probably not selling it correctly. But yeah, it would impact if you had some dealings with um, people who actually work at the company and it wasn't too great. I think it would impact your
Mm,
perception of the whole company. And it's interesting because a lot of people don't really, when you're in a company, you probably don't really think that recruitment is part of your company's brand, which is the point that you're trying to make, Simon, I think.
mm,
Because the brand is usually associated with the product or the service, right? And then everything either side of it is not really considered as as marketing.
mm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big mistake, and what you just said there is a um, massive fail. It's a
Mm,
huge fault of companies not considering how strategically important their recruitment process actually is in terms of their overall image. Because
yeah.
all it takes is one really bad interview process. Hey, my interview was 10 a.m. on a Monday. It's been rescheduled for 3 p.m. on a Friday. Okay, cool. It's now going to be with a panel of 4 rather than the CFO. Okay, cool. Oh, hang on a sec. You've got to answer this questionnaire, which might take you 3 hours to do before you come in. So sorry, it's
Mm,
late. These are things that do actually happen. And these are things that will not only frustrate the candidate, but turn them off the job and the organization
yeah.
altogether. And it only takes that one experience for them to go and tell 10 people and 10 people in their industry, current colleagues, former colleagues, people
Yeah.
within their professional network to say, "Oh, don't are you going for a job there? Don't go for a job there. Don't go
Mm,
for a job at XY company because XY company sucks. This is how they treated me. It's bullshit." So that's exactly the kind of story you're giving this candidate to share with the whole world.
yeah.
And rightly so. If I was treated that way, if I had those kind of issues in an interview, and that's in extreme scenarios, by the way, but there are lots of cases of really bad candidate experiences that are out there. I've had them as well, Deanie. Who
Yeah.
hasn't? We all have. Um, but what I really wanted to get at, and this is something that it irks me, and you might not agree with me, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
There's a phrase a well-known phrase that goes along the lines of culture eats strategy for breakfast.
I
I don't
remember I
agree.
remember who said this to us,
Yes.
to Tanya.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and Tanya's amazing.
she
Fantastic guest on our podcast last year. Um, but I don't agree with that. Now, 10 years ago, I would have agreed with it. And 10 years ago, if I go back in the time machine, I'd still agree with it back then.
yeah,
But what's happened today, Deanie, is we're seeing companies now abandon that way of thinking, of being strategic, future planning. And I'm not talking 2, 3 years down the line. I'm
Yeah.
talking good 10, 20-year plans. And
Mm,
yes, while that might be something that is just not feasible in the current economy, the current political climate, the world we live in today, we aren't seeing enough long-term planning from companies. They are thinking very short-term.
mm,
They are thinking about the profits next financial year rather than those they may be reaping in 5 years' time. And what we're seeing is that abandonment of an overall long-term strategy
mm.
in lieu of culture. We are cool. People first. Beer on tap. Coffee in the break room, everybody. Pizza Fridays. That's where we are right now. And
Yeah.
yes, there are a lot of other really good things that especially larger corporations do in terms of benefits to their employees, like EAPs, so employee assistance programs, and
Mm,
yes, awareness days, and being an LGBTQI plus advocate and
mm,
ally, and these things are great, but we've gone too far with promoting our culture and we are lacking the strategy that drove a lot of companies in the past. And it's really, really sad today to see that that whole phrase of culture eats strategy for breakfast, people are eating that up like wheat bix. And it's absolutely frustrating because yes, there is a place for culture. And we had an episode previously about what is corporate culture. It's in the
mm.
values, right? It's in the way you do treat your people. It can be a load of fluff when you talk about culture and you don't actually have one. That's ridiculous. But where's the strategy? We also need to be thinking strategically in 2026 about all the variables, what could possibly happen in 5 years' time, 1 years, 2 years, 3 years, but plan
Mhm.
long term for any event as well. Stop thinking about next year's new financial year profits and start thinking about 2030 and 2035 and 2040, dare I say it, because what you're doing basically is you are abandoning that longevity of your business for something that might give you some reward in the very short term. It's that almost instant
Mhm.
gratification. It's almost as if, you know, the whole Gen Z, and dare I say millennials attitude of that instant gratification, social media. I'm getting all these likes and I'm starting to get these dopamine hits. Fantastic. Yes. It's almost as if that's translated to corporate Australia or the corporate world in general.
Hmm.
Rants over.
That was quite a rant. It's interesting how you say it, and that statement, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." I mean, I didn't realize that they would be mutually exclusive. I thought they would go hand in hand, right? Culture, having a great culture is part of the strategy to, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, increase profits because if you have a good culture, you'll probably attract the right people and
Yep.
have a happy and productive workforce. And that in turn produces technically profit because anyway, I didn't think they should be or ought to be mutually exclusive, I think.
No, I'm not saying that they should be either. I
Mm.
do think that they do go hand in hand, but you're seeing too much emphasis on culture.
Yeah, it's
And
easier to sell. I
yeah,
mean, if you what are you gonna say? "Oh, look at our great strategy," as
to
compared to,
be
"Oh,
honest,
a great workplace."
that's bold for a company in a job ad. So instead of telling me that they're people first and they have a great culture,
Mm,
I would be won over instantly if in their job ad, they basically said, we have a strong long-term strategic plan
sorry.
for the longevity of our business and then go on about the culture stuff.
Yeah, but
But telling me
mm,
we've got a strategy in place. We want you to be part of that strategy. That's cool. And I think that a lot of businesses, unfortunately, and this is just my opinion, they
yeah,
do get caught up in the corporate fluff and
yeah,
they like to use those buzzwords that will engage who they think will be the right talent.
Mm.
out there, not understanding that the right talent is there just to do a job and to get paid really well. And if you can win over that top talent by letting them know that your company is actually going to be doing its best to withstand the storm,
Mm.
fantastic. I'm won
Yeah.
over.
I think that
You've
would
got a
be
plan in place.
yeah.
You got a plan.
We have a plan in place. Don't worry, guys. We know what
You
we're
got a
doing.
plan, Stan.
The
You
problem,
know,
Simon, not everyone has a strategy.
that's the
You
thing, and
can't.
that's
That
the
would be
problem
false
there.
advertising also if they didn't have a strategy and they say we have a great strategy. Your assumption is that companies all have great strategies or have a strategy, but some don't.
Oh no, I'm not assuming they do at all. I know for a
Yeah,
fact,
that's
and from our
why they have to.
conversations, we know they don't.
Yeah. Well, that's why they have to advertise in a different way, right? They're not gonna anyway.
That's a good point you raised, though. It is a good point. And I think the state, and we're not going to get too much into the state of recruitment advertising tonight. That's for our next episode. But
Mm,
recruitment advertising and marketing in Australia is probably at its low point right now in terms of what we're seeing out there on Seek in terms of ads. And I'm not talking about using the fluff. I'm talking about more about the way those job ads are written. Are
yeah.
they actually written with a candidate in mind? But that's for next time.
You would
Talk
hope
about that.
so, right?
No, in fact, it was I'm gonna have to put this in the show notes and find it, and I'll put in the show
Okay.
notes after this it's gets edited.
Wait, wait,
There
wait. What do you
was
mean
a
written for a candidate with a candidate in mind? You mean like I think I know what you mean now.
I'm
I
gonna give you an example though, Deany.
Yeah, okay.
This is how bad this is this is the absolute state of recruitment advertising in Australia. So Mark Pierce, who is gonna be on the show in 2 weeks' time,
Hopefully.
he he is he put up on his LinkedIn, he shared a post recently, and it was a job ad screenshotted from Seek,
Mm,
and it was an AI prompt.
okay.
The ad was the AI prompt that the recruiter had
Oh,
obviously
okay.
put into its platform
Well,
and posted it to Seek
maybe
for a candidate.
maybe that was part of the strategy to show the company is AI first and leading in their technology use.
If
So,
if it is if it is, Deanie, they're playing 4D fucking chess because I'm telling you right now that is beyond anything I would have thought of. Great strategy. If that's a marketing plan, cool. But come on,
I don't know, I'm just
I'm gonna go ahead and play devil's advocate and say it's not.
Yeah, sorry, but the ad being written with a candidate in mind, like what I
Okay.
thought was, you're putting out that ad intentionally because you actually do see a requirement for this role, for this candidate, for this thing that needs to be done in the company, right? It's a
Yeah.
priority.
Yep.
But did you mean something else? Like they're just writing an ad?
No. I as in they're writing the job ad,
Hmm.
thinking of how the candidate would read it. Does it speak to
Okay.
me as the candidate?
Yeah, yeah.
So, for example, instead of using, there's a lot of phrases out there like in a
Oh,
job ad, you will, you
yeah,
will.
yeah.
So you will report to the blah
Like, I
blah.
will not.
You will conduct this. Yeah,
Rubs
yeah,
me off the wrong way. I will not.
yeah. And I'll be like, screw you guys, I'm not doing that.
Will not
Are
apply.
you trying to kid? You trying to kid for that kind of money? Come on.
Oh god. Yeah.
Whereas I don't want to see that. A candidate doesn't want to read, you will. Cool.
I
That's
don't
great. You're telling me what the job function is. You're not telling me anything else. And there's other things I want to know. So I do think integrate some of your strategy into the job ad.
Mhm.
What are your long-term plans? You don't have to go into specifics, but share a little bit about, we're bringing you on to be part of, and yes, I know it's going to sound really cringy. We're bringing you on to be part of that journey. Okay, don't say the word journey, but but that's the gist of what you should be saying. Not
Yeah,
don't use
yeah.
the word journey. That sucks.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Look, most of the jobs that are being advertised are obviously positions that have been vacant or that were needed,
Mm.
you know, yesterday, I guess, rather than
Yeah.
in the future. Um, I Maybe because the nature of business is you need to justify a spend. So if the requirement is not realistically there and the business is not suffering from not having this person, it's not really a priority to spend money in that space, I guess.
Mm.
Maybe. I don't know. But, most of the time people advertise jobs because they need that person now, not because they're going to need them in 6 to 12
And
months.
I need someone now means you don't have a strategy in place because you would have had that. You would have had time to plan and prepare. And this
Mm.
is what workforce planning is. Look, I'm not a talent acquisition specialist by any means, but I do know enough to know that if you had planned strategically ahead and understood your workforce development plan,
Hmm.
then you would actually have hired that person for when you needed them, not in a rush. Yes, there are jobs. I understand there are lots of, especially blue collar jobs,
Yeah.
where we need someone tomorrow to jump on a plane and go off site to a rig, or we need someone now to fix this. Totally understand that. But if it's a white collar role that you are hiring for someone to basically be part of that strategy, well, you don't have a strategy then, do you? So that's where we kind of fail a little bit. And yes, I do understand people resign,
Yeah.
people spit the dummy and leave the office and don't give their notice. And yes, we need someone now to
Yeah.
replace. Yes, that happens. We are all only human, and that is going to happen in every organization.
Mm,
But if you are hiring someone for a white collar role for a job they need to start tomorrow that wasn't really needed yesterday and no one's left the company, then you really need to start considering your overall strategy for recruitment.
mm,
And that's where you need to either go to an outside agency or bring someone internally in to be a consultant and work with the company to actually fix that for you. Because
yeah.
it's not something that everyone can do. A recruitment as a former recruiter, I wasn't a good one. I wasn't a great one. I tried my best,
You're the
but
best.
I learned a lot about what recruitment is and
Mm,
how important it is as a function. Not everyone can be a good recruiter. Not everyone can be a good internal recruiter. It
mm,
takes a lot of patience and time to find the right person for the right role. It's not like you're just going to put an ad out. We'll get the first 5 candidates and we'll interview, and whoever's the best gets the job. That's
yeah.
oversimplification of recruitment.
It's
That's
really
not how it works.
yeah, it's really, really time consuming as well. So if you
Yeah.
have your own day job and you
Mm,
lump on recruitment on top of it, it's too hard. It's really
yeah.
hard. But it's still I feel like in a lot of the places that I've worked, and I've worked in many, um, recruitment, we know it's important, but for some reason, it's just not a bucket that we can easily justify or
Mm,
prioritize above,
yeah.
product and services. And sorry, these mosquitoes are just insane.
Oh no.
But
It's
yeah,
almost like it's almost like the mosquitoes have been our guests for tonight,
I
hey?
mean, I think they want an appearance. They love me talking about the dengue earlier. They just don't happen again,
Before we before we wrap things up though, Denny, let's talk about what looks good. We've been very negative. Let's
have
talk
we?
about what we've seen out there or what we think would look good. What does good branding look like in an organization?
Hmm. Well, walk the talk, talk the walk. I'm gonna be
Simple
like
as
that
that,
girl.
right?
Don't love your job, job your love.
That's
Sorry.
that looks like that just sounds like one of those t-shirts you'd
That
find in Bali at a
No,
market. I've just got
have you
some
not
weird
seen that
photos.
reel? Everyone's just
No, I haven't.
this girl. Never mind. Anyway, I
Love
digress.
your job, job your love.
I'm gonna have
I
to
have to
send
look
you.
that up.
I'm gonna have to send you the memes that came out of that. It's so
Please
hilarious.
do. Please
Um,
do.
but yeah, what does good look like in terms of recruitment? Well, having
Yeah.
a strategy is one, I guess.
I think because we're talking about branding, right? You can't just have a strategy without your brand. You still need to have some way that your company is represented. So whether it be through, saying that we're people first and living that and
Mm,
living and breathing that, or saying that we are quality focused and living and breathing that in all
yeah,
aspects of your organization, or talk about, efficiency is our key and innovation and living and breathing that in your organization, not just having certain parts and teams of your business that live and breathe that, but for everyone else, it's suck eggs, too bad, kind of thing. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take that holistic approach. Like I keep
yeah.
saying, your brand is everything you do at an organization, from the CEO right down to the bottom. I shouldn't say that, but it is. Businesses, organizations are hierarchical. And any organization that says we're flat, that's not a thing. It might be for some very early startups when there's 3 people,
Yeah.
but eventually you're going to have a hierarchical.
Yeah.
There's
Whether you
there's
want it or
senior,
not,
there's
whether you
management,
like it or not.
employees.
Yes.
It's the way things are. Um, and yeah, for good reason. For good reason. Not everyone can be a manager. Not everyone can be a senior manager. Not everyone wants to make the hard decisions. Not
Mm,
everyone can make those hard decisions.
mm, yeah.
So, yeah. But
Uh,
it's also workforce planning. Good branding and good strategy is knowing that in 6 to 12 months, we know exactly who we're going to hire, or what roles we're going to hire for, sorry, and when
mm,
we need them. Not, I need someone next week. Can you put up a job ad now? It's really urgent. Because even as an agency recruiter, I would have clients call and say, "Oh, the job's for next week. Like, we need someone this, and this skills." And I'm like, "No, not going to happen."
here you go. I'll just magic them. Magic.
This match out of thin air. Look, I created this clone of this guy. Maybe he can do the work for a while. It's lacking. The strategy is lacking. I think you're right though. Good strategy, having an effective plan in place is important. But good branding is also branding where you said it well as well. It's when you can walk the talk. What you say is what you do. The accountability stops with everybody in the business. And it's that level of integrity that you do see in some very good, well-run businesses these days that do walk the talk and do understand accountability and do
Mhm.
understand that we're only as good as our word. So in order to keep that goodwill with our target market and the general public, we do what we say we're going to do when we're going to do it.
Yeah. And not just with the product or the services that you provide, but for the entire life cycle or experience that the public has with your company, right? From
100%.
recruitment to offboarding customers, employees, everyone.
100%. You said it better than I could. That's exactly it.
Yeah. It's hard though. It sounds like a lot of effort, Simon. This is why I don't have a business.
This is why we're not executives or we sit on boards,
No,
right?
we can sit here
This
with
is the
my tea
reason.
and just judge while
This is
taking a
my
salary.
excuse. But audience, we
Mm.
want to hear from you. If you have been part of a negative candidate experience, if you have seen misalignment between brand and what the company actually does, if you have seen lack of strategy in an organization, or we're going to flip it, if
Yeah,
you have seen great strategy, if you
yeah.
have seen brilliant brand being lived throughout the organization, if you have had an amazing candidate experience. We want to hear from you. Hit us up on LinkedIn, Rejected or Selected, or Instagram, Rejected or Selected. Check out our website, riverside.com/rejected or selected as well.
Yay!
Yay.
Oh,
I need a glass of water.
I need to get rid of these mosquitoes. My God.
Well, on that note, Deany,
Mm.
we'll leave it at that so I can let you kill the rest of those mosquitoes.
I haven't
Uh,
managed to even kill one, so
oh,
I think I've just been feeding them. I've just been,
oh no.
helping them continue their bloodlines.
Okay. So next week's episode, everybody, Deany live from a hospital bed with an IV drip.
No.
Simon will be here as usual. I'm joking. I'm
Okay.
totally joking. I hope I'm touching wood
Oh,
right now.
horrible, Simon.
Hope I have not jinxed you, Deany. I think you'll be fine. But do update me.
I will. Well, I mean, if I
That's
don't
with the
show up
dengue
for our podcast,
situation.
then you know what's happened. But yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah,
Great chat.
if yep, good chat tonight. As always, Deany, it's a absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you next time.
And see you next time. And to our audience, we'll see you all in a couple of weeks' time for Rejected or Selected. Ciao,
Selected.
ciao.
Bye.